Welcome to the Warren Planning Board's regularly scheduled meeting, Monday, February 28th. We do have a quorum. Do we need to do a verbal roll call? Yeah.
Present.
Present.
Here.
Yeah. So that's an excused absence. There was nothing under the Waterfront Overlay District Development Plan Review, Zoning Ordinance Article 26 rather. There are no public hearings. So now call the meeting to order. The first order of business is approval of the minutes from 1/24/22. I didn't remember getting those. I was wondering if I was just suffering from early stage dementia or.
No.
Okay, good.
I got the same dimension.
Great, terrific. So we'll just skip right over that one. We are moving item 7. We're switching the order of item 6, old business, and item 7, new business. So what we'll be looking at next is the site plan review for 747 Main Street. And I believe, yes, can I have a motion to switch the order in the agenda?
So moved.
Jim, second. Matt, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So this is the site plan review for 747 Main Street. This was sent out prior to the meeting. Sure.
My name is Matt King, 5-year resident of Warren, 75 Charles Street. 3 years. Tried out for the first season. I thought great top along dress. And I'm looking forward to walking through it. This opportunity presented itself. I'm thinking about actually working. I provided site plan and make a destination for customers. So, site. Take out window, attach units building. It's complementary to offerings. All of this would operate.
Thank you.
Obviously, ice cream, and takers, but bakeries are coffee bakery.
I have to say, I think it's a brilliant idea.
Good use of that.
I was really, floored. That's a building. I pass it all the time on the bike path and think, what could you possibly put there as retail is starting to tank? And this concept, you have a flow of potential customers by it all the time, but it's,
The most successful past use was sale.
yeah.
As a matter of fact, the first year I did this, 2019, sold Christmas trees. Twenty much property in 7 That was very successful. Last 2 years, because economic challenges bring across the board. I certainly doing that.
Would that be possible, you know, an approval of this, allowing that kind of Christmas tree sales as well? I mean, it would create a more year-round.
Yeah, you know, you.
Right. Yeah, but it's a good location.
Dragging the home, actually. That was my favorite. Up Kogo on one hand, child on the shoulder.
I will say that one of the things that you probably want to consider is a fence around the backside that is on Haley Street. The dumpster pad there, you know, if there was some way that you could shield the neighbors, the immediate neighbors from that, that would be a good idea, I would think. You may also want to consider, you know, again, where this is, as I remember it, there's also a neighborhood on the other side of the East Bay Bike Path. So some kind of shielding there might be in order. On the other hand, I mean, I'm sure people would like to sit in the tables as we've got them here and, you know, look out. But some shrubbery of some sort might be a good idea in terms of fending off some potential objections to it. That's,
So there's an existing fence there right now.
yeah, and it's pretty ugly.
Like that. The intention would be to put in the plastic dividers that. So. That just might be great. The area that you said. Site. But certainly planning, many of you would buy or see my child.
See it every day.
I planted dozens of roses, climbing, all kinds of.
Here?
Kind of created a little environment there for myself as well. And so far, it's very well considering.
The way your site plan is laid out here, you show traffic circulation in from 114 and then out. Is there any notion for parking aside from those two spots you have in front of the building?
It's kind of along, there's a parallel parking, along the main street.
Okay.
3 spots there.
Okay, by the trees?
13.
Yeah.
So I'm proposing 5 spots, 1 accessible. And the one-way traffic is really dictated by the curb cuts that already exist, as well as the layouts plan is. Those curb cuts are there. I think that was a flow that sort of established. Not that it follow, but sliding in place. So right now, we're 5 spots, like, then don't treat the people with parking.
What would be the parking requirement? Business that would be.
They wouldn't have to change it to something. obviously get the rest, but it seems to me that a lot of this is. I think it's a great idea. Like a bike rack thing or something like that for people. Taco shop. I have a pay rate, non-grade.
Oh, right, yeah.
10 bikes. Not very, might have lost one.
Yeah.
So yes, bike rack as well as some version of the air conditioner already, as well as station bicycle control.
Wow.
So, and there'll be a restroom inside. There'll be a restroom inside that's accessible to anybody, not just.
That's a good idea because there's nothing like that on the bike.
No, I know.
Oh, signage,
Well.
you know, the inconvenience stores overdo the signage.
So, right now there's 3 existing signs, we would call them. Monstrosity that's on the building.
Yeah.
And the person landlord that. Then there's a, let's say, the 70s vintage sign, it's standard pole. Got a band and wheel stretch across it. That would remain, so that's. And then there's a more of a 50/50 gas station, which is like construction, which has those letters. That some sort of decoration on top.
So that you'd have to conform to the sign ordinance in terms of square footage code.
Right.
Just to take a bit of area.
I mean, they've been throwing banners and all kinds of crap up there. You know, I mean, it's an eyesore, and it has been an eyesore for a long time. It, you know, for whatever reason, the building inspector didn't see it, you know, as something that was worthy of enforcement, but it certainly, you know, you've got a great track record here in town. So, you know, we're not worrying about that. It's that I think there's an opportunity to make it, you know, as you have on Child Street, the same kind of environment can only help the business. Yeah.
Yeah. Good spot, good
What did you say
location.
about who you're going to rent? Taking for truck like 1 week clam chowder, 1 week barbecue. So I'm a member, I got my start at OPP. Yeah. That would be operated by the small team. And I have the other 2 spots. Probably a week. Sure, and then in terms of,
All right.
a lot of times they notice video driver. Yeah, but because of that, in bank film, whether it's people walking by or people patronizing the convenience store, you see a lot of their drive there. So are you able to make the find something? Trash is that's a floor of the house. Yeah, I kind of tried to work. I literally.
Fireball.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's unfortunate.
Because-
How can we, what is our task here? Can I go offering a recommendation to the zoning?
make a recommendation to the town council as well?
Leave after, you could, I think.
The standpoint of food trucks and kind of bar, but do they treat them in this type of scenario like would they have a lot of the same kind of like restrictions? The restaurant with respect to like smell and cooking like for immediate residents as well as ways to keep them. I'm just trying to think of what.
Right, so. Restaurants are all discussions. Want to get stuff. Previously, like, yeah, one of the. Model is really building from space, needs great water. Doesn't mean that we like.
Sure.
Being there, other than being available. Mostly it's kind of stationary. You don't see like we're done.
So, there's approximately 12, about 800 square feet. I have a call it. I use. So, you're probably about 68. My top, water tools, sign, countertop, tables per se, the wall. The air that access. Glasses, that's
That may affect your parking requirement.
Analysis. They're not displacing anybody.
I mean, first of all, your operation on Charles Street is outstanding. And this is a terrific idea, really. Really. Now, if you could do something with the building next to our bike shop, that's.
I hear that's on.
Yeah.
I hear that's for sale.
No, but this is, you know, I would say with the caveats about concerns for shielding. Really, that would be, from my perspective, the only thing that, you would want to consider to, so that the zoning board sees that you've thought about it already. And, that the electrical is a terrific idea too, because that clearly gets rid of the generators. I mean, that's a brilliant. So can I have a motion to strongly recommend, strongly approve this?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
I look forward to it.
Yeah, and I'm going to be your customer.
Go get them.
What do you think your timing is? Just
I hope to have some activity this summer. Whether or not it's gonna be, I always push for all or nothing as far as being better. Depending on traffic.
Well, any help that you need, you've got, as you can see, a panel of friends.
That recommendation.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really good idea. Right.
Pick up and make all the bike great plan.
Showing it.
Yeah. The next step would be. Yeah. Get a better.
Oh, God. Yeah. Hey, best of luck to you, really.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. I love that through to the service, all right? I'm always trying to get my wife to go. Okay, next order of business is, we were going to, Bob, since we switched 6 and 7, we'll go through the review and discussion, the draft elements of the comprehensive plan.
Yeah, we'll go back to 6.
So, I mean, they're B and A look about the same, 6A and 7B, except for facilities and services. So,
Well, yeah.
so so which do you want to tackle first? Yeah, okay.
Just got that.
Okay.
what is the process here? There was that if you approve or want to comment to drafter, does that go to her?
That would be Allison.
So you've got the feedback on?
You said we had 2 meetings to discuss feedback. Yeah.
Unfortunately, as we go through this discussion, so I can follow along, we can find PDF. But whatever you. Yes.
Does anyone have any, I mean, as Bob said, we have gone over this a number of times. We created some appendix in this and in others to place information that is more specific, but may not necessarily fit within the structure of the, traditional comprehensive plan. So this is a good model for the rest of the ones that we've done. And there were, when we originally looked at, we were looking at some things that were given more importance than was warranted within the comprehensive plan. Not that they weren't important, but that they would be referenced as an appendix.
Background information.
And the various groups that would,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not college.
Yeah.
As far as the final format, I did not spend so much formatting it. All that stuff. So we've gone. Track changes.
I mean, we all receive these. I don't want to take up your time.
I did have one comment on the open space and recreation. That was, I raised the issue of, we could say something, rights of way, such as.
That-
should assist-
Well, wait a minute, we're still on historic and cultural resources. So we're looking to sign off on that. Yeah, no problem. Once we get there, for sure. Any comments, concerns? Yeah.
Do we need a motion or?
Well, we got some people here.
I have, fire. Stay on, sorry, first. Well, we'll take it. I'm a neutral fine, so. I want, number one, I think this reads well, and I really appreciate it. Fine. Oh, this is, second. My personal preference, going on page 2, either having it be forward, but forward is done. On page 3, this is that I'm getting here, but I like how tight that is for on the second paragraph. Ill-advised past spot zoning resulting. Past.
last line, last paragraph, plan for consequences.
Oh, I see, yeah, right.
Good page 4, I love this introduction. I think that we have data. When that first line comes in and says, for instance, that so reference there. Helpful. Like, sorry, demo that I'm getting. I have it all.
So, give us that again, Matt, the being surrounded by tidal rivers and bays.
What he's saying is that meaning that average elevation just sites.
Oh, I see, yeah, right, okay,
Just what's subjective.
okay.
On the page, Metacom covered, and I think in an earlier, I was like, I don't get this. I really like this now. I like the sunrise and everything. I was thinking too, when this is all done and assembled, we're all used to see how this. Each state we got like that section. It's like a menu. If I'm landing this thing. I was noting that some of the elements.
Oh, I see.
Natural resources.
Where are you? Yeah, but I don't see any numbers on those. Are you looking at the blocks?
Sorry, I jumped down to like page 12.
Okay, all right, and you gotta let us know.
What page are you on?
All right, what I'd like to do now is, then we're getting into historic and cultural resources. So are there any comments that the board has about those specifically? Because I believe 12 would. Yeah.
I will more than all. Just another thought as well. I think it's strong, I really like the table format that, sort of whatever. I'm tying this to the introduction. I think that page system. I think it's strong, it's concise, it's correctly, timelines, and then I was thinking, because the tables already know the implementation. I feel like there's an opportunity to like create another table as the implementation. Markets Metacom, say it addresses HC1, it'll show the high priorities, and then it tells a story. That's why it's like cross-reference. I don't know if it would work, but that was started like nicely.
I wouldn't want to break up the flow. I see where you're going with it. I'm just wondering if there's another way to do it. Because these tables fit well now. And I think we put in the market to Metacom. I would find it confusing if I didn't know market to Metacom.
I was talking about a separate thing.
Right, but within the policy implementation action timeframe, or as a separate.
Or do you feel like an appendix?
Yeah,
This is why Metacom.
no, I agree. I mean, I think that's, but as an appendix, it might work. Right. Yeah, right, as opposed to previous ones. Okay, well, before we move past to page 12, do we make a motion to,
No, I think you can do them all.
okay, all right. So you were on 12, Matt, element 3, natural resources. Did you have a question about that or comment?
No, my only comment was that somebody else.
Oh, okay. So like element 3 is noted as natural resources, but elsewhere, I hadn't noticed that. Oh, I see. Yeah. So recreation, conservation, open space.
My guess is that the comprehensive plan elements table will have like element 1, housing, element 2, transportation, right?
They just probably haven't been numbered because you're still moving around.
I
so
don't
they
even
go,
know we
yeah.
were right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, but good catch. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's elements that Allison is working on, there's elements.
Okay.
Yeah, wait.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that that happens once the,
Oh, no.
okay.
From my standpoint, I want to prioritize.
Okay, so I'll.
Quit reading.
Before
people quit reading.
Yeah, right.
Then I think we transition to hazard mitigation.
So natural resources, that's under historic resources or, I mean, it's a separate
Yeah, that's right.
element.
Historic and cultural.
Right, we just don't have it on the agenda.
Or yes, there's three, I mean. Natural resources.
No, natural resources wasn't, so, right, that would be going to statewide planning. Okay. And this is one that we had discussed, for example, installing BMPs, low impact development, stormwater management. Any concerns, questions about natural resources? We did go through this. This was, for example, NR 3C, ensure enforcement when and if a property owner violates a CRMC decision and does not maintain required buffers. This was the concerns we had about the Chase Avenue development in Tuisset. There's also an issue that Bob's currently dealing with in another part of the town about preservation of drainage swales. And so we want to make sure that I'm wondering if we want, would this be the place to put in that? Oh, stop here? Oh. I think this would fit within NR3. DEM has changed. They used to have retention basins so if you built a development, you'd have a basin, like concrete, or there'd be a metal tank or something like that. All of the runoff would go into it. They've since changed to swales, which are more aesthetically pleasing, or, like a grassy indented area that extends, and then the water percolates down. It's the responsibility of the people who move into that development to take care of that swale. What I was saying, Bob, is I'm thinking NR 3C or 3D, 3C, for example, would that be an appropriate place to put in the maintenance of swales? Because that's actually a DEM, not a CRMC. Right. It could be a CRMC, but is there a way that we can? Okay. All right.
Again, I mean, this
Yeah, I just think, you know, given the fact that,
Checking as many as we can now.
right,
So Bob, is it possible the next time around to do it as hard copies? Rather than try to do it, I mean, once you've settled all the changes. I understand that, but it makes it easier to review when you see them sort of stacked up.
okay, anything else on natural resources?
So what are natural resources right now? So a lot of the conservation lands.
That's the bottom line, Robert. Not all of it. Land trust estates. But yeah, you're right. That's
Well, this comprehensive plan, though, our timing here is 10 to 15 years.
10 years, they say,
20 years. So we're talking 50 years at least before those areas are inundated. So,
And that's a sort of.
no, I mean, some of those areas. Action taken. But yeah.
there are some, to answer your question, though, I think there are some areas that are, they sold the development rights, farms, there's significant space over in Birch Swamp Road, Twisted. You know, there's areas that are never going to be inundated. They can't be developed. So that would be something that we may want to look at in terms of, like right now, there's a farm that the development rights were sold, but one of the owners doesn't want anybody having anything to do with it. So it's not really open space, it's just space that can't be developed. And that could certainly be a target at some point.
What happens to different factors? Successful.
Yeah, that one is, really should be priority one for any conservation land, given the timing.
I agree with that change of priority. Should be.
I mean, in terms of, where is that?
So,
Well, is that, is that reclamation of that property, is that part of the R3? When I can certainly sure it sounds like that would be awesome.
Yes, maybe. At this point, the town is not taking a position on it.
No, see, that's what they're saying. We've got
But
litigation.
she said that they don't want me,
It is.
they don't want me to that land.
Are you talking about in RPD, like in that language? Like, I think it does sort of make sense to, sort of something. Whether it's there or somewhere that says that, like, if there is opportunity.
Yeah,
conservation
I would say
opportunity.
if this happens, this should happen.
Yeah, like we would
Yeah,
encourage
if then.
preserving land that is already like, when it comes, whether it's donated or whatever.
Right, it should be developed.
Right, exactly.
And I think that speaks to the idea of, open space that is not threatened by inundation. Okay. Um,
Sure. If we're done with that.
yeah, we're all set with that. So that,
I'll add some language
yeah, and Bob will,
encouraging.
and, specifically the Bristol County Water Authority watershed land, currently it's protected watershed. Jim?
So in NR 1A, the red section. Again, it's not being rain garden area. What is a rain garden?
Excel. Rain garden. So, the natural.
Anything else on natural resources? Then moving to recreation. Go ahead, Matt.
On NR 5, this time. Does it have any references to the state's one?
Footnote.
Oh, is there already on there?
Just more specifics than just saying.
Yeah, say URL or something like that, like, oh, I have. You have to do that.
Okay, recreation, conservation, and open space.
So I was going to suggest that we, in addition to the appendix, which lists the right of ways, we perhaps develop a policy. Something along should assist in the researching the rights of related, rendering certified by the CRMC, and publicizing.
Already done that.
Maybe I'm serious.
Highlighting the comp plan amount, I think you can leverage with.
Yeah, I understand where you're going with this. Generally talking about rights of way.
Yeah, they may. I mean, they've also
Try
tried,
to focus more on that issue, right?
well, you know, they've done a pretty poor job of taking care of the existing rights of way that are clearly listed already. So, and yet, even in that, they're grabbing for others with no legal basis. It is a hot issue. It's a hot issue because, you know, it becomes, the process for this is you go to CRMC, not, I mean, several times the Harbor Management Commission and one of the other boards have published rights of way that didn't exist. So, you know,
Comments of the
so I think we have to be very careful about that because I think there's a small group of folks who feel like, you know, everything should be open and passage, you know, it's a hot issue
So
throughout the state.
could I ask?
No, those are all, yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. You want to assess conditions of public access points. I mean, I'm on the Kickamuit all the time. The access points that are already identified are hideous. So, and I'm one guy. Now, the Harbor Management Commissioner is supposed to be going up and down the river. They've done nothing. You know,
But there aren't any here on the technical one. So,
yes, there is. Did you look at the map?
well, I looked at this list. There's one.
Maple at the end of Twislet Road. Maple Avenue, Shore Drive. There are five,
Maple Road.
there are
That's the-
five, yeah, on the other side. So there are plenty of rights of way that nobody's done anything with.
Some communities work with volunteer, like, we're gonna,
Right. Okay. Anything else within that historic and cultural resources? That was the one that had an extensive appendix as well. Appendix R2, inventory of recreation, conservation, and open space. We've got the East Bay bicycle path and then the Warren bike path. East Bay bicycle path and then Warren bike path. That actually, the intent of that is to connect it to the East Bay bicycle path. So I'd like to see some, right.
I think we want to make a statement there.
Well, and also the bridge for the Warren bike path, the long road, the long lane, actually, so this is on page 26. It's the long lane to the Kickamuit River, not Long Road. And it will, by the spring or next spring, there'll be a bridge there, right? So that should be noted. That's a tough one because it's, I mean, first of all, people are going to make a path of some kind. It's got to connect, the concept for that bridge. You're referring to the bridge that would, right. The bridge goes across the Kickamillet and then it ideally would connect with Libby Lane. Um,
There are like no.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna be
Not yet.
But again, Bob, I mean, I think once that bridge is built, you can't just have people going to a dead end.
No, I agree with you.
So there's got to be maybe an interim and then a long term. I mean,
I think if we incorporate transportation. Talk about that.
Water.
I mean, you think that's indicated.
You did that along this little, okay, yeah.
and then you got a light right on Metacom
Right,
there.
Franklin, right
Now,
there.
the problem with Franklin is it's a really thin street and but, on the other hand,
But the bike path would go up the other side, so you could actually bike path. Have another single cross.
right. I mean, Vernon is a more forgiving street.
Or even taking it to the bridge.
All right.
Their idea, Franklin, was the.
Okay, anything else?
So I understand. So R4A, I have some language added to it. Reference.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to keep saying the same thing. Maybe right now, this is to get it to stay with me, to react. All these things will be considered, but this is.
Bob, why in R4A, you've got it as a long-term? I mean, it would seem to me that we're going to have, it might make more sense to have that medium. Okay. Yeah, I know. I mean,
It's my own issue, but, say like there's recreation nights and adjusting, but with Martin's Medicom, we have to take into account that it's like
Let's, so we're all on the same page. We're talking about map R1 outdoor recreation, the colored map, correct? Everybody there?
There's potential that, depending on how housing looks like. That we have a pretty high percentage of seniors. That potentially, we have families from, that I, point will take. Based on the openness of price.
Yeah, it's off, but.
You know, really high percentage. Housing.
That said, I mean, I think it's, the map legend says recreation property, which suggests recreational fields.
Yeah.
I mean,
But it's more.
it is more than that. So, but I think it would, like, my concern was the Brito property, Brito Field, if you look at number 5 there in the Kickamuit River, there was a plan in the recreation plan that was produced by those consultants that would turn that into a playing field. And Bob, that's my concern.
That's the old location at Chase.
Yeah, it's something.
Well, this is why I want to make sure that the recreation plan that was created by the consultants is not considered part of this. Right, because in that plan, when I saw that, I was appalled because they were not only talking about using that as a recreational field, but they were talking about putting a road across the bike path spur to create parking over there for another.
It's like just.
Right.
What if it's recreation? That is a great deal.
How do you define recreation versus open space or undeveloped?
Conservation, so undeveloped conservation land specified versus open space or rec space. Just walk. So, no, but it's the recreation. Right. Good term. Active and passive.
Yeah,
That's probably how. It's a larger category.
Second example would be.
yeah, I'm just, is there a way that we could be, yeah, I mean, that works for me in terms of being able
There's some
to.
way you can make a distinction between that, which is could be like rated and between athletic events.
Or for any kind of park, I mean, like,
Right, yeah, yeah.
So, well, I haven't finalized that, but there is that, there's.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, as long as we're clear, because it's,
No,
Yeah. No.
the only other thing here is that, National Grid property. Would that go on this? I mean, yeah, cutting.
yeah, I would like to. That potentially could be. Like,
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is, I mean, we've got Audubon Society property here. We could note where that easement, that National Grid easement is on this map. Yeah, we did.
Talk about that project.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to put it on the map so people know where it is.
So, I think that's kind of.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice to buy a house. This one maybe isn't correct.
Yeah, no, I mean, because I don't think many people even know this thing exists. So detailing it, and as a potential,
Right, and you have a potential sale of National Grid.
right.
There's some levers there. Making a statement that taking a greenway like that and access.
Yeah. The issue in the past was the wetlands there and the need to create, yeah, and that, but it's not insurmountable.
Yeah. No, you're very smart. That's good.
Yeah. Well, this would also be a nice connector between as we looked at it, it could bring you directly into Bristol in a very safe way. Okay.
Yeah, I would do like a staff.
Or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can call that out.
So I think we're done with the combined section. We skipped over to the map. Yeah, I'd like to get these out. I mean, we need to facilitate this. It's 1:15. I talked to Bob about a couple of things. And he and I can talk about it in terms of private wells, where they exist throughout the town. This kind of hyper-focused on the very end of Twisset Point, but actually there's some significant areas from Child Street, almost Child Street, it's Katy Drive, all the way down Long Lane. All of those houses are all serviced either by private wells for the most part, and then there's a community well at the end of but there's also Birch Swamp road area that has private wells. And those things also tie into septic systems. They, um, why don't we leave this for the next time? But, yeah,
I did have one comment.
sure.
But, it just struck me like, mentions a lot of things. Water's got water supply. So as I was looking, I was struck with that. And almost. It gets the table. There's some designator that says. And I found myself.
Organizing the table for people, reorganize.
Yeah, just because it sounds like it's kind of service.
I agree.
So I just had one comment, the energy and production, I would have been more detailed.
Yeah.
And then highlighting the ordinance and keeping the ordinance. Solar. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a strong point.
Yeah, I mean, renewable energy.
Well, actually, yeah, right. There's nothing wrong. I don't know. I can tell you that there's more than that access point there along here.
Yeah.
I get it. Just it struck me that that's something that could use more attention.
Great.
How many is your suggestion to indicate where
By
the
the way, I
private
think we're
wells
making good
are
progress.
in relationship to the septic system?
Well, if you,
Is
this
that
whole
true or
area,
not?
actually from here,
Yep.
anyhow, home in here,
So you get
It's
extra
not
money for
private
working
well.
with Bob?
this has,
Yeah.
our system. But
Penalty clause.
this is all, and then over here, it's all
Private.
private wells. So the septic systems would impact, potentially could impact the quality of those.
Well, Is it a suggestion to show it on the map? Because if you start putting,
Yeah.
start putting all that stuff on the map, it's gonna be very difficult.
No, this is just a recreation map. It would be a separate map for that. And there's also another one for open space.
Yep.
If Vanderbilt, see. Yeah. Anyway, they have. Come back, sorry. If you're already using this format, like, oh, this is so much easier.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I like it. Very good idea. Okay, so can I have a motion to approve these three elements for presentation to statewide planning
I so
as a
moved.
draft?
So the three are historic resources, natural resources, and recreation and open space?
Correct,
As a draft.
as a draft.
I so moved.
But just, this is just more of a format. Not the final document, we need them to see the direction. Talk to them about it, they seem to understand that, but they haven't seen.
So I move that we submit those three elements to the statewide planning board
As a draft, the
As a draft.
drafts of those. A motion, Jim, second,
Second.
Brett, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, hey, great work, Allison. I know this is not the easiest thing in the world by far, but I really like I like Matt's concept. I mean, it's interesting. You know, the older among us, of which I am one, you know, you think of a comprehensive plan as this paper document, and frankly, it's going to be a lot more electronic as it moves forward. And so that kind of hyperlinks, which would also keep it fresh. So if something changes, for example, you know, the open space and farm thing,
Change the link.
then the link is going to bring you to the updated element or the updated law. So I think it's a really good idea.
Surprised you're not cross-eyed by this time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, draft hazard mitigation and,
So this may just bring up to speed on a couple of things.
Yep.
The draft hazard mitigation plan was added to the town's website today.
can you send us all a link in an email?
Sure.
Great.
Updates on markets, Medicom, rather crazy. Manager and I had a meeting earlier this month, the governor talking about and housing. I also have an in-person meeting on Thursday. Talk about vision resilience, effort is going forward. Saturday.
Wow.
I'll miss all of you.
Don't forget us when you're big, when you're huge.
So, again, we're moving forward on a number of different fronts with respect to.
Is there some consistency? I mean, you know, I'm not encouraged to think that the current governor and lieutenant governor are going to be in their seats after next
Well, I mean,
November.
interestingly enough, I had a thing from campaign force. The fact that this could be well taken in the state, I guess,
Yeah,
Same.
yeah.
So Bob, the question, the newspaper said that there were copies of the mitigation thing available at the,
Yeah, available at the town clerk's office for review there.
for you to.
Yeah.
If I'm not-
And I will have it down.
Great.
Jacobs. Ask Kate Wolf's house. Either of these.
So Bob, did you,
My staff.
so did you see that, the Rhode Island, URI Sea Grants program? For sure that's not.
Yeah. DEM, Fear and Fee, are they apprised? I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think, the greatest support we have right now is those that are being, so.
right,
When I was our meeting, Thursday with the governor and all of these meetings, I mean, I had actually had to take the initiative to say, I would like to meet with you. Talking about this way, we talked about. Have the same conversation.
right, yeah.
Lieutenant Governor was very receptive.
As soon as somebody's called a czar, it's a problem. I mean, I don't know about you, but, you know,
Because that's what the speaker.
yeah, I just picture bullet riddled bodies in
Well,
Oh,
particularly-
Katerina, you know, it's,
And the kids.
and the kids.
But even with the governor.
In the basement.
We had a, hey, to get this meeting in. So I'm actually bringing Jeff Neal, who's the chairman. BC, the value.
Right.
Been very frustrating. I mean, I think, I told people that it was frustrating part of our time. That lack of engagement from state elected. Talk about this. I invited them to every public meeting. They still haven't reached out.
Yeah.
Not that I need the attention, but more than anyone else is doing. I just feel like frustrated that that's the thing that's not communicated. I've got professionals all over. University of Florida coming up here to do a conference. I can't get local.
You know, the media landscape has really changed. I mean, I used to work at Save the Bay as their communications and education guy, and I knew just who to go to. You know, at the Journal at 10, 12, and 6. You know, those were in the days when Peter Lord was the environmental reporter, and he was, you know, we got meaty stories and big
The Allison's
pieces.
piece back in October in Wonderstone, that got us national attention because it
Right.
doesn't get me any local attention. That's very frustrating because, you know, we look at all the steps that are necessary. I've got Longfellow, I believe, somewhere. Property fire, that comprehensive.
Well, affordable housing is a hook there, though, too. I mean, you know, given the fact that affordable housing hasn't, the meter hasn't moved in 8, 10 years. Right, I mean, you know, that's,
I mean, that's what I shared with the governor. Are you talking?
So, Bob, what's the status of the form-based code? Where's that?
So I will share with you the housing piece is done. As part of the comprehensive plan, we have to address the zone change. Based on that housing element is done and we're there with respect to one additional density, you do one building, it was a cash contribution. That circumvents state statute that is. We love that. So we value every state tax. And you got to take that with Rhode Island housing. Big box conversion.
So when do you think we're gonna see the housing?
I think it's in housing.
March is already started. March is taken up with this.
Yeah, no, I mean, we can't address, we have to get into the zoning. But as I'm finishing these elements, I'm happy to share. Housing.
Okay.
We just need the developers.
I'm in constant conversation with
The owners of the,
John Lot Plaza as well as people. Other people will fall on. We've gotten, starting to get a lot of inquiries from out of state developers now. that Want to do housing. and want to do that.
you think that's going to happen? This is National Grid property at the entrance just over the bridges.
I mean, I think the developer always. You just sort of have it instead.
It's got a-
But he's been saying that since.
Yeah, I mean, and so, I mean, you know, the plan is that we think there's an opportunity.
So 60 days from the next town council meeting. Okay, oh, that's good. Just as long as Seven Stars goes in there, I'm cool.
Or a brewery.
Now, we got enough breweries. I want some bread.
We'd have like 3 breweries. Like,
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Got a first and a second down.
All right. I want to hear about your Hollywood trip. That's right. Trip to MGM.